Together, he and I have also signed the largest minerals deal in U.S.-Africa history. And, Congo has magnificent land. It's incredible land, and he's doing very well with it, so we appreciate it. But we've signed the largest deal with some of our big companies, and they're going in. So thank you very much, Mr. President, and you call me for anything, right? Thank you. And just in closing, scriptures always tell us that blessed are the pure in heart. I don't know if that applies to me necessarily. I'm not so sure. I don't know, Paula, does that apply to me? I'm not sure. I try.
All right, folks, buckle up, and before we get into this, do me a quick favor. Backhand index pointing right, hit that like button, because it helps this video get out to more Americans who still care about true faith and accountability. Backhand index pointing right, subscribe to the channel if you're tired of the mainstream media spinning every story and you want real reactions from a patriotic perspective. And make sure notifications are on so you don't miss what's coming next.
Nobody's ever seen anything like it. And the river rose 20 feet in literally 30 minutes, leaving utter devastation and destruction. Emma bravely helped lead 14 precious little girls to safety. And London, seeing the water rise, gathered with other girls at the top of their building and prayed. They just prayed and prayed. And as they prayed, the water miraculously stopped rising. Just a few inches from their feet, it was going to overwhelm them. Anybody in the cabins were gone. Anybody in the cabins were gone. Who would have known? They thought the cabins were the safe place to be. It wasn't. Then the water began to retreat, and many hours later they were finally rescued. As you know, many young people died that night. When asked what she hopes others to take away from her story, London said, "This life is not promised. Our breath every minute is not guaranteed. Because of that, we shouldn't take life for granted, and we should just live it well." I mean, it was an amazing statement. I saw her make the statement. Young girl making that statement. Incredible, actually. Very complex statement. Smart, but true. London, I know exactly what you mean, and I want to thank you both for being here and your remarkable, incredible courage. It's been really amazing. And if you could at least stand, I said, "Would you like to speak?" And they said, "Well, we're a little shy, but you know what? You may be shy, but you're very brave. Would you please stand?"
Now, let's talk about what you just watched from Forbes Breaking News, because this is one of those moments that cuts straight through the noise, straight to the politics, and right to the core of what actually matters in this country. Faith, courage, accountability, and the fragility of life itself. I want to be very clear right out of the gate, this wasn't a campaign stunt. This wasn't political theater, and this definitely wasn't another hollow Washington talking point. This was a raw, human moment. And frankly, moments like this are becoming way too rare. President Trump wasn't up there pounding his chest. He wasn't bragging. He wasn't throwing punches. He was mourning. He was reflecting. And he was honoring real American heroes, two young women who stepped up when chaos and death came crashing down without warning. Let's talk about what actually happened at Camp Mystic. This wasn't some slow-moving storm with days of warnings and press conferences. This was biblical-level flooding. 20 inches of rain in minutes. A river rising 20 feet in half an hour. Cabins wiped out. Lives lost. Children taken before they ever had a chance to grow up. And here's the part the media never seems comfortable talking about. Nature does not care about politics. It does not wait for government approval. It does not check bureaucratic boxes. When disaster strikes, what matters isn't Washington's character. And that's where Falsz and London Smith come in. Emma didn't panic. She didn't freeze. She didn't wait for instructions. She acted. She led 14 young girls to safety in the middle of absolute chaos. That's leadership. That's responsibility. That's the kind of courage you don't learn from government programs. You learn from family, faith, and values. And then there's London. As the water kept rising, as the building was about to be overwhelmed, what did she do? She didn't scream for social media. She didn't blame politicians. She didn't demand answers from the system. She prayed. And I know that makes some people uncomfortable. I know the secular crowd hates hearing that word. But the fact is, when everything else failed, faith was what those girls turned to. And according to the account, the water stopped rising inches from their feet. You can roll your eyes if you want. You can scoff if that's your thing. But don't you dare mock people who found hope when death was staring them in the face. And here's something else that deserves attention. Trump didn't claim perfection. He quoted scripture and openly questioned whether he lives up to it. That's humility. That's self-awareness. That's not something we see often from politicians who usually pretend they're morally superior while lecturing the rest of us. Now, let's talk about what London said afterward, because this hit hard. She said, "This life is not promised. Our breath every minute is not guaranteed." That right, there's more wisdom than you'll hear from most college campuses, most cable news panels, and most politicians combined. And that's exactly why this moment matters. We live in a culture that tells young people they're victims, that safety is guaranteed, that government will always be there, that consequences don't exist. And then reality crashes in like a flood, and suddenly all those lies fall apart. This tragedy reminds us of something the right has been saying for decades. Life is fragile, responsibility matters, and faith still has a place in America. It also reminds us why strong communities matter more than bloated institutions. Those girls didn't survive because of regulations. They survived because people took responsibility for one another. And let's be honest, if the story involved mocking faith instead of honoring it, the media would have been all over it nonstop. But because it highlights courage, prayer, and personal responsibility, it gets a polite mention and then gets brushed aside. That's why moments like this deserve to be talked about, not exploited, not politicized, but remembered. The lives lost at Camp Mystic deserve respect. The families deserve prayers. And Emma and London deserve recognition, not as symbols, not as talking points, but as examples of what real American character looks like. So yeah, President Trump calling this one of the worst things I've ever seen was an exaggeration. It was honesty. And sometimes honesty is exactly what this country needs more of, because no matter your politics, no matter where you stand, tragedies like this remind us that faith still matters, courage still matters, and life should never be taken for granted. And that's something worth standing up for.